Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Chris DeCanchuk, Realty Connect USA and Team CJD Homes. I'm here today with Chris Hantis from A Pro Home Inspection, and today we're going to be going with some commonly asked questions that buyers have when getting a home inspection. So Chris, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Chris. It's a pleasure to be here today.
So tell us a little about yourself. How'd you get into the business?
So I've been in the industry now for well over 25 years now. I've always loved residential housing, and my entire career has been with residential housing. And inspections just seem to fit perfect. And we started our company in '94, and as the company grew, I started in 2000 that was my only paycheck. So and then from there on to today, here we are today. So
great. Great, awesome. So how important is it to get a home inspection when purchasing a home?
Well, you always want an unbiased opinion on the condition of the home, and you want to know exactly what you're purchasing, because when you're looking at a home, it's one of the most exciting times in your life, and you just want to know from a budget standpoint, from a condition standpoint, what you're getting involved with. And a lot of times that means that you may think that something is not so good and it turns out to be better than you think, and vice versa. I said. So you just want to get that unbiased opinion. You want to know what it is you're purchasing, so you can make a good buying decision. I think it's very, very important.
Okay, so now what are some of the things you look for in an exterior of a home?
So when we get to a house, one of the first things we'll look at is we start on the outside and we take a look at the foundation of the home. As a foundation, we're looking at the structure of the home. We just want to make sure everything is basically, true and plumb and square. Then what we do is we identify what type of sidings do we have on the home, how's the sidings applied, how is all the trim work applied to the home. We want to make sure that when we have storm weather, that we have properly functioning gutters, leaders, grading of property, condition of driveways, walkways, porches, decks, things like that. Then as we go around, we take a look where your electrical comes in, central air units. We take a look at your roof. We take a look at chimneys, any skylights, any kind of flashing details, soffits, fascias.
Okay, so now how typically long does a roof, siding, windows? I know a lot of buyers have questions about the roof, siding, windows, really the main components of the exterior of a home. So how long does that typically usually last?
So your typical roof, of course, depending on the style of roof, your roofs will start at about 20 years for a basic 3-tab shingle. Okay. Our traditional, that what we're using today, is a 30-year architectural roof. But then we have some higher end roofs out there that really give you a lot of life. Some of them they even claim to be lifetime.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So there's some roofs that, depending on what you have up there. Of course, there's a lot of factors that come into that, like proper ventilation, proper installation. All that matters. Sidings. It all depends on the type of siding we have on our home. Of course, we have like a brick or masonry siding. Boy, you're going to get a lot of time out of that, as compared to, say, a wood shingle or something like that. You might get a little less. And vinyl seems to be a good economical siding that gives you a good amount of life as well. So and again, it all depends on installation, and maintenance is such a big key on keeping your product lasting as long as possible.
And windows, I know there's a lot of options with windows. Anderson's a pretty popular brand window. How long is that typically usually?
Yeah, I got to tell you, not that we're doing an Anderson commercial here, but but Anderson windows, they, in my opinion, they're the best bang for the dollar. I've seen Anderson windows from the '70s, and you're able to lift them up with 2 fingers. But there are so many good windows out there, though. But typically, you have vinyl windows out there. You'll have wood windows out there. Many different brand names of both, and many different quality levels of both. So. But a typical window, you tell folks, just an average window, about 20-year lifespan.
Okay, great.
People.
All right, awesome. Yeah. So now let's jump to the inside. Now, what are some things you look for in the inside of a home?
So when we get inside, let's say a home has a basement or a crawl space. That's usually where we start. I like to use the expression, it's like building a sandwich. I'm going to go bottoms up. And when we're down in the basement or crawl space area, we're looking at interior structure. We're looking for any kind of moisture coming in. We're looking for any exposed wires, pipes. A lot of times some of the electrical may be down there, heating system may be down there. Right. We're going to take a look at that. And another important factor is going to be termites. A lot of times we're looking on the exterior for termites as well, but on the inside, especially down underneath when you're able to look up, that's where you would typically find some evidence of termite, which is very common on Long Island, and we look for that as well. Any moisture coming in, and That's kind of where we're at in the basement. And then what we'll do is we'll walk upstairs, and then we get into the main levels of the home now, where basically every room, it's ceiling, wall, floor conditions, all accessible, outlet switches, doors, windows. We just want to make sure everything functions the way it's supposed to function in the house. We run a bunch of water. We just want to make sure we have good drainage. We have good functional flow. Hot and cold on the right sides of the faucet, which is a big one. No leaks. Plumbing was installed correctly.
Right.
Safety outlets were appropriate. Work our way through the home. At the end, we're going to get up into the attic of the home, which we're looking at insulation, which is important, but also proper ventilation. We have to have an attic that breathes properly to help for air exchange, help the roof last longer, keeps the insulation lasting longer.
Okay. Now, how would you compare an old home to, let's say, like a new construction home?
Well, an old home, obviously, the biggest thing is the old craftsmanship in the older homes.
I love that. Yeah.
They're just, you look at it, it just brings you back in time.
Right.
But you can't look at an old home and say, I'm going to have the same amenities as today's construction. So when you go and you look at an older home, you have to have that old home mentality. Things are not going to be perfect in an old home. You're going to have quirkiness to an old home. Things are going to shift, move a little bit. Things aren't going to work quite right. They're going to be a little more drafty. But if you have that mentality, in my opinion, I guess is what, like you.
I love the old molding, love the architecture.
We just don't get that.
Old home, absolutely.
But in today's world, we have homes that are much easier to maintain, lower maintenance sidings. They're much more energy efficient, so lower cost to operate. So depending on what you're looking for, but there is a difference. You got to have that mentality for an old house.
Right. I know a lot of the new construction homes are very well insulated now, a little bit more modern, right?
That's right. More insulated, usually a better quality window. They're usually much straighter.
Right.
Much more conventional to today's standards.
Exactly. So how much does a typical home inspection usually cost?
So depending on what you have inspected, of course, there's a broad spectrum there. We start, if you're doing a co-op or a condo, they'll start anywhere between $350 and up, and you get into homes are typically about $500 and up, depending on what you're looking at. Of course, there's a cost difference between a 3-bedroom, 1-bath ranch as compared to a 5-bedroom colonial.
Right. Okay.
So it all depends on the house and what the house has in it, and we price it accordingly. We want to be as fair as possible.
And does that also include a termite inspection?
Yeah, we do. We are. I am certified to do termite inspections as well, and we include them in all our home inspections.
Okay. So speaking of termites now, so how does termites kind of destroy your homes? I know that's a big topic in Long Island, especially.
Well, they are very common in Long Island, and you have to kind of understand how they operate. And the biggest thing with termites, without getting too technical with it, is we want to try to prevent as much wood soil contact with our homes. We want to keep moist soil away from our homes. And termites are sneaky. They're not just going to come out and say, "Hey, I'm here." They camouflage very well and they hide very well. And a lot of folks may not think they have termites, or you don't know really unless you're really looking. You just don't know. A lot of times you have concealed areas of the house. That's where they want to get into. So it is important. I always tell folks it's very important to have a bait station system installed around the house. I'm a big believer in them. When there's no termites found, there's no chemical in the ground. It's just cellulose in a canister, and it allows a licensed exterminator to get in there and really see what's going on around the perimeter of your house and attack termites that are showing up within those stations. They're a great system, and I think it's like an insurance policy for a home.
So you would say it's pretty important to keep that contract with that exterminator to make sure that all those base stations are full and taking care of the problem. Right.
Absolutely. A common thing I hear out on the field and is that folks will have found termites, have a treatment done. They wait a few years with the contract, and then they say, "Oh, gee, we haven't seen any termites, so we let the contract go." And I have my rebuttal to that is always, well, you don't want to fire a guy who's keeping the bugs out of your house. You don't want to see the termites and pay for them.
Exactly.
So I believe a termite contract should be looked at as like homeowners insurance. You should just keep it every year. It's so important. Plus, when you go to sell your house, if there is old evidence there and you show that you've had a contract, it's great for a buyer. It gives them that peace of mind.
Right. And I know it's kind of important to mention, too, you can only inspect what you can see, correct?
Well, yeah, that's another big one. Of course, if we go into a home that's vacant, we could see a lot more unfinished basements. We can see a lot more. When we start getting into, homes that have finished basements that are occupied. Some homes have a lot of extra stuff in it. Those get a little more tricky because it's only what we can get to and what we can see without moving things around that we can look for. So we try to do is when we're talking to clients is try to just see if we have access to at least the most important things, and we do try to explain that.
Right. Now, do you inspect, pools or sprinkler systems?
Now, pools, sprinkler systems, any accessory to a house would not be part of a standard home inspection.
Okay.
So now we do offer pool inspections. They have to be up and running. We could do irrigation inspections. We could do, buildings like gazebos and sheds, but they would be an additional cost and they would be extra. Now, what we do look at with pools is we'll look at the electrical for the pool. We look at the surrounding patio around the pool for trip hazards and condition. We just don't actually include the pool itself as a part of the home inspection, standard home inspection.
Okay, so now once you're done with the home inspection, what should buyers anticipate after you're done with the home inspection?
So here's what we do. When we're on site, we have our buyers there with us, we have our clients, and we go through the home together. And what I want to make sure is on site that, they kind of have an idea of what's going on verbally. But then what we do is we follow up with, I kind of hang my hat on my reports. We put a lot of effort into our reports. They're narrative style. We take pictures. We include them in there. And we want to give them a real good product to read afterwards. And between the two sides, them being there with me and then them reading the report, it should really give them a good idea of the condition of the home that they're buying. But a lot of times we're there for a few hours, and a lot of times that's a lot of information to get in.
Exactly, yeah.
So if they have questions afterwards, I encourage that they call, and we'll have what I like to call a post-inspection conversation where we'll just explain everything to them again and clarify. This way they could really know what they're getting in, and they'll have a great experience.
Okay, and you're available obviously after the inspection for any phone calls, any questions?
Absolutely, I encourage it. 100%.
Okay, great. So now, how can buyers, if they want to get a home inspection, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, they can get a hold of me through professionals like yourself. We're also, we have a phone number, and they can call my office. And Shannon's in my office, and she really runs the company pretty well. And we'll do everything we can.
Do you want to give you a business line?
631-868-0499 is our phone number, our company.
And Shannon is scheduled appointments with you.
Shannon is she runs the whole show. I just do the inspections.
All right, great.
So,
well, Chris, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys got a lot out of this. I know we went over a lot today. But if you have any questions about a home inspection process, call either Chris or myself. And look forward to getting you to your next home purchase. So thank you so much for watching, guys.
Lots of luck, guys. Thank you.